So the movements of awakening, at least as it's been experienced here, that's all that I can speak to, is that there was this emptying process, this big emptying process, and there's still subtle ways that there's an emptying occurring. But it's that the person, the identity, like who I thought I was seen to be completely empty. And was seen to be a complete fabrication. It was literally just a little bundle of programs of conditioning that were creating every behavior, creating impulses that were followed. Just a little bundle of resistance patterns and nothing else. There was literally nothing underneath it. And then now, lately, so that emptiness expands into like a silence. Maybe that same silence that one touches into in like a deep meditative state, but it feels different. At least it has here. It's like the silence descends and engulfs everything, but it's also that the silence is sensed behind all the movement, behind all the sound. And it's like every being, every human that's interacted with, what's behind the eyes is silence. So it's like the emptiness gets enveloped by silence. I don't know if that makes sense, but and the silence is all that's left. And you could say silence, you could say God, consciousness, beingness. Any of those words. Silence seems to call to me lately. It feels very alive. It's in a very alive silence. And it's like descending. It envelops everything. It's almost like what it feels like is the sense, the intuitive sense that I get is it feels like the boundaries between things are dissolving, between perceived things, as the silence kind of engulfs it. It's everything is becoming the silence. It's very strange. I can't quite put words to it, but that seems to be what's occurring here lately. So it feels like there's another shift happening. First it was all the mechanistic conditioned patterns being seen through, breaking down, the bottom falling out, and all the repressed garbage spewing to the surface. All the things that the valve of resistance, the valve of me was holding back, just came spewing out. And then once it's like shaking a bottle of Coke and it's spewing out, and after having those resistance mechanisms in place for so long and shaking the bottle for so long, what's left after the spewing is just an empty bottle. That's what it's felt like. Just emptiness. And that was really scary at first, actually, to realize that Jennifer was emptiness, that Jennifer didn't actually exist. And then it's taken on a different quality. It's like that aloneness really started to get big. And when I say aloneness, I don't mean being physically alone, even though that is what's here. It's being physically alone. Living alone out in the country. But an aloneness in the sense that there's nothing external to rely on anymore. There's nothing that can be projected outward. It's just what's happening. The stories can't be grasped onto, can't be held onto. Nothing can be, the finger can't be pointed anywhere. Not even here. There's simultaneously a sense of personal responsibility in the playing out of the patterns, but weirdly and paradoxically and simultaneously, the finger can't actually be pointed anywhere. There's nothing to blame. It's just what happened. It's just what's happening. It's just life happening. So aloneness has been just standing up in authenticity and what's naturally wanting to arise, speaking completely truthfully, speaking exactly what's here, speaking fully. I think it's Rumi that says said something along the lines of or no, maybe it's Khalil Gibran. Actually, I think it might be Khalil Gibran. Speak until you're finished. Like when you have something to say, speak until you're finished. I don't know where I was going with that. The silence, it's so rich. And I just like look around in awe at the silence. Like even though there's sound, even though there's movement, like it is the silence. The same silence that was found here inside, underneath what I thought I was, underneath all of the little bundle of conditioned patterns, everything I thought I was. And it's almost like those two, like the inner silence and the outer silence. Like the silence is being seen externally, and it's almost like those things are, the boundaries blurring. It's getting fuzzy. It feels weird. It's a little uncomfortable physically. There's some like physical dis-ease and some, contractedness that comes up, but there's not really a story behind it. There's just like the sense of dis-ease or contractedness or physical discomfort, or just energy moving through the system. It's very strange. I don't know anything about this. I don't know what to say about anything. But that's it. Silence. Silence is very alive lately. Very alive.